You would think the difference between being a simp and being in love was obvious, but if this was true, we wouldn't have so many movies, songs, shows, and actual relationships that confuse the two. No boy is born into this world wanting to be a simp or doormat for girls. Every man wants to have the respect, love, and attention of a beautiful girl. But as we grow up, we realize we're not the handsome man our mom said that we were. We get our heart broken left and right. We get rejected over and over again. Imagine you work up the courage to finally ask a girl out. You've been seeing her for a while and you want to make her your girlfriend. But when you ask her, she rejects you and says you're more like a brother to her. She doesn't want to go out with you. She wants to go out with Chad. You go home from this traumatized and suddenly you wake up and you're 26 years old. It's been years since you held hands with a girl, let alone had a date. No girl will look your way and you're too scared to go up and talk to one. Corn and doom scrolling are your best friends and suddenly you realize there's a way for you to get the baddest bitch you've ever seen. For the small price of a few $100 and your self-dignity, you can get all of the nudes you want on OnlyFans. You can even message their AI chat box, making you feel like you almost have a girl until you wake up one day and realize that suddenly you're alone and you're gonna die. Oh my god! For most of my life, I've been a simp. I would do anything to get the attention of the girl I liked. I would put her on this pedestal and I would always feel inferior, and she could smell that from a mile away. Obviously, no girl was interested in me and wanted to be around that kind of weak energy. But I grew up believing that love was this game of cat and mouse, where the more that I chased her, the more likely I was to get her. Obviously, that never worked out for me, and all of that simping came from me being insecure in myself. Society has failed to help men understand what love really is. And it's not our fault either. Everybody on the outside knows when their friend is being a down bad simp for a girl. When they're giving money to OnlyFans, or when they're salivating at the sound of a text notification from that girl, thinking that they finally have a chance and they're so happy they got her attention. If you've seen someone like that, you know that they need an intervention. But it's much harder to understand this when you're the one who's lost in the sauce. You confuse every single text, compliment, and even second of their attention as a potential for a relationship or for love to start. This comes from a need for validation, and you don't realize that you're sacrificing all of your self-dignity and respect in exchange for the potential for a relationship, which isn't even a good deal either, because even if you did get into a relationship, it would be a one-sided power dynamic where you would just be putting this person on a pedestal for the entire time, and you would have no respect. Most men simp because they think that they're just not good enough for real love. Just look at Denji from Chainsaw Man. My guy is so down bad that he will literally start barking to get the attention and validation of a girl that he likes. He is so lost in the sauce that he can't even realize that every single girl is using him the more and more that he simps for them. It might be funny if you're on the outside watching a simp lust over a girl, but everybody knows that feeling of wanting love and not being able to receive it. And that's what simping is. Somewhere in your life, you put your heart on the line and you had your hopes and dreams of a relationship crushed. This can make you think one of two ways. One, you either double down and you become even more of a simp, or two, you start to get cynical about the nature of relationships. When this happens, you see all of the content surrounding alpha males on TikTok. The idea that girls are only interested in your height, money, power, and status. And this causes you to get even more cynical about the idea of love. The worst feeling is thinking this way and realizing that you don't even have the means to play this game of transactional relationships. You don't have the money, you don't have the power, you don't have the looks. If you're mid or ugly like I was, this can put you down this rabbit hole where you just assume that your relationships and all of your reality are just going to be messed up. You start to settle for the idea that relationships just aren't for you, that the best that you can do is just goon to corn and look at Instagram models, and that this is just your reality. That relationships just aren't meant for ugly guys or guys who lack power, money, and status.
You're a fucking simp.
What did you just say?
Bro, I said you're a simp.
No, that's not true. She likes me. She just needs a couple months to think about it. I'm her best friend. She likes me, right? We're taught that love is a feeling, that it's a moment where you just know you love someone. You fall in love. It's something that happens to you, not something you create for yourself. It's when you see a beautiful girl across the room and you feel your heart racing. That's what love is. That true love is an obsession that people lose sleep thinking about. That they'll even die if they can't be with who they love. But as men grow up, we can easily get cynical about it. We see love in relationships as transactional. It's about flexing status, money, and power more than actually loving the person you're with. We feel that we will always be attracted to girls who have no interest in us, whether it's because we're too poor, too ugly, or lack status. If we're short of anything of being a 6-foot alpha, we're going to get cucked by someone who is. But is this really the only choice we have, picking between being a simp or just hating the woman that you're with?
So does she want you?
Nah, bro. She told me she just sees me as her friend.
Bro, cut that hoe off. Fuck women, bro. They're all whores.
Society is selling you 2 lies. The first lie is the one they sell to the hopeless romantics out there, that all you have to do is wait, that the right person will come and you'll fall in love with them instantly, that love is supposed to be an obsession. The second lie is the one that all the cynics tell you, which is that to get girls, it's all about money, height, and status. Neither of these are about love. They're both just about coping with relationships where you can't get the love that you want. But what is love? If it's not about shallow relationships and idolizing someone, how do we know what love is? Shirogane from Love is War showed me what real love is. This guy sees a beautiful girl and realizes that he wants to be with her. But he doesn't simp or resent her for being out of his league. Instead, he takes it as motivation to work on himself, to become a better man. The thing about love that society, school, and most relationships fail to tell us is that love is about respect and growth. It's about having someone who you can grow and work towards a future with. That no matter what you go through, there is respect for each other. Love doesn't exist in toxic power dynamics or in transactional ones either. Love can never exist if there aren't boundaries set in place that value respect, which is why both being a simp and hating women fail at giving you what you need. You either end up as a doormat when you're simping or as an overbearing man who has no respect for the woman who he's with. Love isn't about being needy or resenting it. It's about feeling validated, feeling like you're enough, having someone respect you for the work that you've put in to become the man that you are today. But I get that this sounds easier said than done, because when you're disconnected and you feel all alone in the world, it's much easier to just find the quick answer. To assume that simping or getting into toxic power dynamics is the only way you're going to get into a relationship, because even if that relationship isn't perfect, it beats being alone. But if you do this, what you're telling yourself is that who you are isn't good enough for love, so you have to fake it. The way to find love is to create a space where love can find you. Love is something that you build when you have the self-respect to value yourself and the boundaries to not lose yourself in the relationship. You can have transactional relationships where you don't need love, but if your goal is to build something real and meaningful with another person, you have to first be good with who you are. Love isn't about maximizing your dating profile, having the best lines, or even trying to find it. It's about you creating a space where love can grow. But to do that, you gotta be cool with yourself. You gotta be comfortable in your own skin. That even if you don't have the love that you want right now, you're still good with who you are when you're alone. This is one of the hardest skills any man can build for himself, which is to be entirely alone in the world, but still being proud of who you are. But this isn't who I was at 18 or even a few years ago. I would do literally everything to try to get a girl to like me. I always wanted her validation, and I always wanted her to reassure me that I was someone of value, that they could respect me, and that they could give me my honor and dignity. But as I grew up, I realized that nobody can give me these things. All the validation that I've been seeking from the world, others, girls, it should have came from me. It should have came from inside of me, knowing that I was someone of value and that I respected myself. This feeling of internal validation comes from being proud of who you are, from being someone who puts in the work and who is okay with being themselves when they're completely alone. This wasn't me a few years ago because I couldn't even deal with being alone with my thoughts, so no wonder no girl wanted to be with me. This is why every man needs to have respect for himself if he wants to build a place where love can grow. If I just spent all of that energy energy that I was giving to girls on myself, I would have grown and become someone that I was actually proud of so much faster. Instead, I wasted years trying to get validation from someone who could never give it to me anyways. We all want real relationships. We all want an ideal partner. We always think about what we need from another person and what they can do to make us feel good. But the real question before we can get into any kind of relationship is, are we good with ourselves? Because that's how real love starts to grow, is if we're able to sit alone and be okay with the man that we are, and that when someone eventually comes around, that we'll be able to still respect ourselves, but have a space where you guys can both grow together. If you've watched this far, I truly appreciate it, because relationships are something that I deeply care about, and I know that every single man struggles with it. Especially as a young guy, I didn't have the guidance that helped me understand what kind of man I needed to be and what kind of woman was honestly good for me. These are questions that nobody really asks, but they need to know the answers to. If you're interested in more topics about relationships, please let me know what else you would like for me to talk about, because this is something I'm deeply passionate about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.